Hello, good afternoon from Tallinn, Estonia. You are joining E-Residency live Q&A, Ask Anything, which is our monthly live webinar format for getting to know basics about Estonian E-Residency and the company formation in Estonia. We'll let the people together a couple of minutes, and then we are happy to start. In the chat of this event, you are welcome to share your greetings and maybe writing there also where are you joining us right now this time, so that we get a little bit of overview of the geography of attendees. And we are gonna start in a minute or so. At the same time, I would like to let you know that during the whole session, it is possible to ask questions from the presenters. Please do use a Q&A tab for the questions. We take only questions from the Q&A tab for answering, whether in a written form or some of our speakers will answer them in live. But in order to keep the clarity, then please, if you have any specific questions you would like to ask, then please do submit them in Q&A tab. Also, if in the chat there are invitations to any of the WhatsApp groups or Facebook groups or some other social media groups or communities shared, they may be independently run, not curated and authorized by E-Residency team. So we are not sharing any of the links there. So if you are invited in the group, then just be aware that it may be run by some of the people whose private initiative it is. But I think it's almost a good time to start. I will share my screen. So we are gonna go over different aspects of e-residency and the Estonian company formation, as well as how does running Estonian company looks like. I'm not alone here. We have two really great guests here today. We have Viviana Schaller. She's an e-resident herself already many years. She's a founder of a successful company and will share soon her experience in running the business remotely as an e-resident. And then we have Martin Lään, who is the CEO and the founder of E-Residency Hub, one of the biggest service providers for e-residents. His company helps to start, run, and grow the businesses of e-residents. And the first part of the Q&A will give you the overview of e-residency, eligibility criteria, application process. Then we have Q&A session related to these aspects. Then the second part is covering company formation, benefits of having a company in Estonia, and the services you need. Also, then it's followed by Q&A. And then the third part gives a very, very basic general overview of taxation and reporting for Estonian companies. And not a detailed expert level help there, but just to get you a general understanding, and also followed by Q&A. If you have a question that is related to taxation already now, you don't have to wait before you submit it. You can already submit it in the Q&A tab for the later answering. And I'm reminding you one more time, please do add your questions to Q&A tab if you want them to be answered by the speakers. But now I'm happy to give a stage to Martin from E-Residency Hub.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks, Raimo, for the introduction. My name is Martin. I'm from a company called E-Residency Hub, and as Raimo mentioned, we are part of the e-residency ecosystem and are proud to have been part of that already for the past 8 years. If you get yourself an e-residency and you decide to start a company, then we are there to help you. We currently have roughly about 2,300 active clients. And when I say client, I mean an Estonian private limited company that is then owned and managed by one or several e-residents. Our services are package based, so you can, it's kind of transparent in the sense that we don't bill our clients by the hour, where sometimes, you have a surprise at the end of every month how much you have to pay. Instead, our services are divided into packages, and you know exactly what you're getting, and you know exactly what you're paying for each month. It's a subscription-based service. What exactly is it that we do? We help you to set up the company based on the requirements, based on the criteria that you establish. We serve as your contact point, which is a legal requirement in Estonia. We provide you a legal address, because every company needs to have a legal address. So even if you don't live in Estonia, your company's legal address will be here. This is a service that you get from us. And then we give you a full range of accounting services. That means booking your transactions, submitting any tax filings in Estonia, and also preparing and submitting your annual report. This is something that every Estonian company needs to do. As you can expect, in case of e-residency, and the letter E in front of it, is that the whole thing is online. We have online tools for clients, meaning there is an environment where you can upload your purchase documents, you can create your sales invoices, and they are created in a required format and form. And also we have an app that you can use on your mobile phone, which is then used in case you have, for example, receipts that you receive during when you run your business. You can snap a picture of that receipt, and again, it is automatically forwarded to the accounting. And with the app, you can also do expense reports, travel reports, all these kinds of paperwork related stuff that running a business sometimes contains. Raimo, if you can switch to the next slide. I already mentioned the legal address, the point. If you set up an Estonian company, then the preferred option for banking is always a fintech solution. So we mainly work with two large fintechs. One of them is Wise and the other one is Revolut. Both of them work in the sense that your Estonian company can set up an account, get a bank account effectively with an IBAN, like an account number. You can receive payments, you can make payments, you can get a bank card. We don't do that, so you have to go to Wise or Revolut, but we can give you some instructions, and obviously we give you the documents that you need to present to these companies about the fact that your Estonian company has properly been established. I mentioned that everything is digital. It also means that if you do upload an invoice or a document, suppose it's in a PDF format, or suppose it's in a format like a photo or JPEG, then it is digitized and it will be directed directly to your accountant. From our company also, if you subscribe to our accounting packages, then you will have your own accountant. It's a physical, actual person that knows your business and helps you. And that accountant, books your documents once a month. So at the end of every month, your documents from the previous month have been properly booked. There is a lot more information on our website. I encourage you to visit it, erhub.ee. You can also send us an email. You can ask questions right now in this Q&A tab, as Raimo mentioned. And during work days, we also have a line that you can give us a call if you wish to talk. But I'm looking forward to your questions and hopefully can clarify any things that are in my domain of knowledge. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Martin. So we'll continue with you later when the questions are arising. You already mentioned a couple of things that we are going to cover also during the presentations. But coming back to the very beginning, then what it is we are talking about today. So e-residency is a digital identity issued by the state of Estonia. So it's a government program. You get an official document by the state of Estonia that gives you a digital access to Estonian government services that are all online. I have been company founder since 2009. I've never anything submitted on paper, and I've never visited any government office for doing my company related administrative tasks. So it is also a secure digital signature that enables you to verify yourself, to confirm whatever you need to confirm, and sign documents, agreements, contracts, reports digitally without being physically Estonia or sending anything notarized form on paper. And of course, it's a digital key to do the business. As said, the main use case of becoming Estonian e-resident is usually to open a company that operates cross-border, and you can run it remotely from your home, or if you are a digital nomad, then from the locations you are residing. And as there are more than 130,000 e-residents nowadays in the world, then it's also already a global community. It's pretty likely that you stumble upon e-resident sooner or later when you are traveling around or doing international business. To be very clear, e-residency is not a travel document. Once you get your document, it does not even have a picture on it. It just gives you the digital access to Estonia. This is no way giving you physical access to Estonia, either citizenship, visa, residence permit. So for traveling or for relocating to Estonia, there are other bases and you need to apply for them separately. It does not change your personal tax residency. So even if your company will be in Estonia, but you are living, I don't know, let's say in Germany or in Poland or in Thailand, then you are tax resident of your home country. Also, becoming Estonian e-resident and opening a company in Estonia does not guarantee you either a business or personal bank account in traditional Estonian bank. So, or not even in the fintech, it's always the decision of the specific provider whether they would like to open an account for you and your business also in Wise and Revolut or not. So becoming e-resident, having a company does not guarantee bank account or even online bank account in any of the fintechs. So who can apply? E-residency is granted for individuals. So even if the goal is opening a company, or let's say you already have a company in another country and you would like to open another one in Estonia, or even make it a subsidiary of your foreign one, you still have to apply for e-residency as individuals, and then the individuals can open a company later. Now, you should have, of course, any interest to use Estonian e-services, and you cannot be Estonian citizen or resident. There are restrictions applicable for citizens of Russia and Belarus. It is not possible to apply for e-residency from these countries, as well as from some other countries that does not have any bilateral cooperation with Estonia in domains of justice, security, and law enforcement. It's effective since 1st of October, and there are some exceptions if it's a second time of application already, but in general there are some restrictions to certain countries. Now, why to become one? The main use case indeed is to open a company remotely, 100% online. Ecosystem is available in English, and it's all possible thanks to the fact that you can digitally verify and sign everything. So whether the partner is other company or bank or Estonian state, thanks to the digital ID and the signatures you have, you can always prove that you are you, and the transaction you are planning to do is approved by yourself. Estonia is always open, even if it's if you are, let's say, submitting a report to Estonian state, then you can do it in your time zone according to your lifestyle. Of course, if it needs manual review by government official in Estonia, then he or she probably still works from 8 till 9 or from 9 till 5. But at least you can do your part whenever it's more convenient for you, and then the processing will be done in Estonian time. You don't have to go physically somewhere. And yes, it's a community. We have seen friendships started, new businesses started, thanks to the fact that different e-residents all around the world have found themselves through our community events, through digital communities, have found joint business interest, have invested to each other's companies, and so on, so on. How does the applying for e-residency looks like? First of all, you need to fill out the application form that is available online. It takes about, let's say, 45 minutes, depending on how well have you prepared. Do you have your passport and other documents nearby? So during the application, you also need to choose the pickup location for your card and also pay the state fee of 150 euros. Now, there is a processing time by Estonian Police and Border Guard. Then they will go over your application. They may ask extra questions if they find some information missing. It doesn't mean that you will get the no as an answer, but it just means that they are missing something, and you need to add additional information. Always the good idea is to be as transparent and as detailed as possible when filling out the application form. Now, when you get the notification that your application is approved, then you can agree appointment in the pickup location, which is most cases Estonian embassy or consulate in some foreign country. And then this is the only time you need to go and show up in some Estonian government related office in person, so that you get your card and the reader and the starting kit. But in return, you need to give your fingerprints and a signature. So there is one mandatory visit to um, um, Estonia related pickup location, which in most cases is Estonian embassy. And then basically you can exit the embassy and sit down the cafe next to the embassy and start a company, which takes usually several hours. So we tend to make a joke that if you submit your company formation application in the morning, then you get your company opened in the evening. And if you do it in the evening, then it's opened by the next business day, usually. Now, the pickup locations, there are more than 40 pickup locations all around the world, mostly in Europe, but also bigger Asian capitals are covered, of course, North America. But please keep in mind that if you are residing in some country, it does not have a pickup location and you need to travel cross-border, then you need to keep in mind that maybe you need a visa or some kind of other document to enter that country. This is something you need to figure out yourself. And this year we started also a new program, which is called the mobile pickup locations. So we added 2 pickup locations in South America. It is now possible to pick up cards in Buenos Aires and Sao Paulo, as well as in Bangkok in Thailand. These are the locations where officials go there for a certain amount of days after every 2 or 3 months, give out the cards, and then the next time they go after 3 months, for example. They are not the permanent ones open the daily basis. Now, I think it's a good time to see whether there has been already any questions. There is already one question which is more or less related already to the companies, but let's ask it already now. It's for Martin, I believe. Payments to subcontractors or independent contractors outside of Estonia for services. Should these payments be treated as non-taxable?
Okay, I'm going to answer that question. The answer is yes in Estonia. Yeah. So let me give you an example. So if you have an Estonian company and you have a subcontractor or a contractor, let's say in another country, let's say it's either in Germany or Brazil or India or wherever, and the subcontractor is not an entity, they're not a company, but they're just a physical person. So they do the work for you and then you have to pay them. So from the Estonian company's perspective, it's tax-free. The Estonian company simply transfers the money to the subcontractor, but obviously the subcontractor in that country needs to declare this as their income and needs to pay whatever taxes are applicable to receiving foreign income in that country. So that is the short answer. And if it's a company, if your subcontractor is a registered legal entity, then they issue an invoice, and the Estonian company pays that invoice. There might be a VAT added in certain cases, but I'm not going to go into the value-added tax details right now. But the general rules for VAT apply in this case. But labor taxes, if you have employees or subcontractors that work and live outside of Estonia, then these expenses are not taxed in Estonia.
Mm-hmm. There is another question which I am going to rephrase a little bit. Can you please explain what are the cases where e-resident company needs or does not need contact person in Estonia? In which cases it can be someone else?
Yes. So if you have a company in Estonia, then the company definitely needs an address. Yeah. This is a line in the file of your company in the business registry. If your address is in Estonia, for example, you have an office in Estonia or you have a place where you run the business from, then you don't need a contact person. Yeah. But if your company address is in a foreign country, let's say you live in the UK or in Germany or in Brazil, and you choose that your company address is in Brazil, then you need a contact point in Estonia. This is the place where also the Estonian authorities can then deliver messages and consider them to be delivered once they have been sent to the contact person. And that's obviously part of the service of the contact person, is that the contact person then obviously forwards that message to the client.
But can the employee or co-founder in Estonia also be the contact person for this company, and his address or her address can be the address of the company?
No, contact person service is a service which can be offered only by licensed entities. So these are companies that carry specific licenses, just like mine or like the other companies, service providers on the e-residency marketplace. It can also be a law office, an attorney. It can also be a notary. But yes, it cannot be your friend or a random person, unfortunately.
But can it be an employee or co-founder?
If they have a respective license or they have they work as an attorney here in Estonia, then yes.
Okay, I think we are going to move on with the next part, but maybe Viviana, you can share very short your experience. I think you have already applied at least twice, the first time and then the renewal. How has been the process been for you? And like, can you maybe explain your experience with actually getting the card physically in some specific location?
Oh yeah, when I got it the first time, it was a really long time ago. I think I started my residency company already 8 years ago, and it's a bit of a blur now. But I actually traveled to Tallinn at that time. I think it might have been required still, but I don't know. Or maybe I just wanted to see Tallinn, and that's why I took it as an excuse. But it was pretty straightforward, as I remember. Like generally, I think it just took like a couple weeks to get my company running. And I did renew my card. I'm not sure if it already did it twice, but at least once. And last time I did it in Kiev because I'm spending a lot of time in Ukraine, and it was just convenient for me because I was there anyway. And was not really a problem. Like you can find a spot in every capital city. So if you're traveling a lot like I do, then you usually pass by some city where you can get.
Okay, thanks. But as we are moving on, then now it is actually a good time for you to introduce a little bit yourself. Who you are, why did you become e-resident, and what has been your experience so far, and what is your business, by the way?
Of course, yeah. I'm from Germany originally, from Munich, and I started my first company when I was still in university which was the same company that I have now in Estonia as Motion Squad. It's a video agency, so we just started doing 2D animations, explainer videos. This is what our focus was at the beginning. And I think after like I finished university and like 3 years into having that agency, and it was slowly picking up, I decided that I want to move abroad and live kind of a nomadic lifestyle of like spending a few months in different countries. And I still had GmbH, a German type of LLC in Germany for the video agency, and I didn't really see a reason to maintain it. I thought about will I do with this when I'm traveling around, but it also gave me the freedom to set up something new. And I did some research and I found what Estonia has to offer. So I closed the company in Germany and then opened the same company in Estonia. And I've been having it ever since, and I'm pretty happy with it. So we've already offered different kind of services. We're just doing services, no products. So different professional agency types of services, like video production is our number one, but also we did some recruitment and software development in Ukraine, and we've always been using that same Estonian entity. I've also set up other companies in different countries, and in comparison, I think Estonia is very easy to maintain. I don't have to spend a lot of time. I think there's really good service providers. And I just have to upload all my invoices every month to the dashboard. And then there's a bookkeeper from my service provider who just assigns all the invoices, and I don't really have to do anything. It's like a really stark difference having a business also in Ukraine, which I also have at the moment, where I actually have to hire a full-time accountant to do the same, even though the business is smaller and has less revenue, but it's actually more expensive to maintain to have the similar type of LLC. And in Germany, it was a similar story. So for me, it was really a good choice as I'm location independent to also have a business that is more digital and supports that lifestyle.
What have you like? What do you think is probably the most difficult thing to get used to, or what do you think people should definitely know or consider when opening a company in Estonia that may come as a bit of surprise, not necessarily a bad surprise, or just like maybe not common?
Oh, that's well, I think it's really easier, honestly. I cannot really say there were any bad surprises or something that I think is worse because the way the tax system is set up is really nice. You just don't have to think about these things. You can always reinvest into your business and you just don't worry about the tax side of it. And everything is kind of taken care of. So I cannot say there was something like a surprise to get used to. Maybe the surprise was that it's easier than it has been before when I had the business in Germany. And then later I opened the one in Ukraine and it's just like really, really difficult. And I wish actually more countries would adapt the similar process and the simplicity of it. But there's nothing hard to get used to, I would say.
Thanks, Viviana. For sure, there will be some questions later that you will be the best expert to answer.
Yes.
But now we are moving on. And we're gonna give you a short overview of why do you open a company in Estonia and how does this work. So indeed, everything has been done as easy as it possible to start and run the company. As said, everything can be done digitally. All the reporting takes place online, and usually also the official notice is coming for you digitally, although theoretically it may take place that Estonian state sends you something on paper, but then your contact person will forward you where you actually are operating, but mostly everything is digital. At the same time, it's secure. It has the highest security standards, as well as Estonia has contributed a lot in building up e-government system that is where the security level is high. It's not possible easily to steal the information or attack it. Also, Estonia, for example, is one of the first countries that started using data embassies. So data is also backed up also outside of Estonia to be sure that the country can operate in a cloud all the time. Also, when you have a company in Estonia, then by the law, it's exactly the same company as my or Martin's company. Of course, if you start applying for public grants, for example, which is possible also for e-resident companies, then there may be some grant-specific rules. For example, you need to have employees in Estonia, then you need to follow these criteria as well. But in general, there is no specific e-resident company status in Estonia. It's just Estonian company with all the same obligations and opportunities that Estonian companies have, which are run by the locals. And of course, the community, it is very entrepreneurial mindset in Estonia, which you can easily recognize if you come and visit. Also happen to come to the business events or startup conferences, definitely worth checking out these opportunities. Now, what are probably our strengths? Of course, getting e-residency will take several weeks time, but once you have your e-residency and actually opening a company is a matter of hours or by the next business day. There is no mandatory local director that you need to hire. This is something you could do or probably would make sense at one moment, but from the day one, there is no specific need by the law. Everything is digital. And thanks to the fact that everything is digital and Estonian legal and tax structure is not overcomplicated, then hours you need to spend on filing tax returns in Estonia or actually being compliant with accounting and taxation rules in Estonia is much less than many other countries. And majority of it you can outsource to your service provider so that you are actually not spending too much time on operational tasks instead of actually growing your business. Yeah, as it is, first you start your company, then for the running phase, you can sign everything digitally, file reports, ask help from your service provider, outsource whatever needs to be outsourced. And then there's a growth stage. You can apply for grants in Estonia if you are otherwise applicable. You can think of joining Estonian startup accelerators. There's a wide range of them to get into with specific focuses, and also actually think of having a business relations with Estonian companies, or if you are outside of EU and would like to, let's say, grow your startup in Estonia, then we have also specific startup visa that enables founders from third countries relocate their businesses to Estonia to grow it here if you are a successful applicant of startup visa. Now, you don't have to deal with everything alone. However, Estonia is probably one of the few places where if you have time to dig into the laws and to get the understanding how things work, then you could actually do majority of business administration tasks independently as well. But mostly e-residents use the help of service providers like E-Residency Hub or many others. In e-residency website, there is a specific section called Service Providers Marketplace, which is a curated choice of service providers you can choose for your business operations. There are service providers who help you to incorporate the company. They help with accounting, legal advice, and tax consulting, as well as there are several fintech and banking options available, but also with services that you need to grow your business, accelerators, recruitment agencies, and so on. So these companies in the marketplace have all gone through our vetting system. So we have a direct contact with these companies, and we know that it's possible to trust these companies. So whenever you are in search of a service provider, we always recommend to start from there. There is also quite extensive filtering and comparison options available there. And then I think we have one of the most profound English version of different growth and funding options available on our website. Always worth checking out. There are public grants, accelerators, funds that are investing in Estonian startups. So if you are thinking already for about the next steps, like where to raise the investment or how to grow your company, how to, I don't know, build your MVP, for example, then definitely worth checking out this source in our website as well. Now, a couple of practicalities. Most of the e-resident companies are OÜs, which means they are private limited companies. It can have one or several shareholders. There is no like upper limit that let's say that when you have a 1 million revenue, you have to change it to something else. It doesn't. It's not that way. So this is a very flexible business format. Registration can be done online, suitable for solopreneurs, also startups, other type of SMEs. Good thing is that actually costs of getting started are rather low, in the sense that share capital starts from 1 euro cent. Usually it's rounded up to 1 euro, or it can be more as well, but it's not in thousands of euros you need to invest in right away to get company started. There are other company types available for e-residents as well, but they are not so common. Only thing, you cannot register yourself as a sole trader or freelancer in Estonia as an e-resident. But in terms of taxation and the general reporting rules, this is also not recommended for locals. If there is an Estonian person who has some kind of knowledge that he or she can invoice others, then they usually open a company instead of becoming a sole trader. And also you can open a non-profit association in Estonia as well, if you have at least 2 e-resident or e-resident and local founders for the non-profit organization. Some information about costs. E-residency application fee is 150 euros per person. So if you have 3 co-founders, then it's 450. Then the company registration state fee is 265 euros. Though these state fee numbers are fixed, you cannot change it. But when you register a company, on top of it, your service provider may ask a little bit extra for the support they give you, but sometimes they don't. If you make a longer agreement with them to use their services, quite often they don't ask service fee for getting started. Now, the contact person prices can be very different, starting from 120, 150 euros a year, going up to several hundreds. But let's say on average, rough estimate is 200 to 400 euros a year. And then the accounting prices depend a lot on the volumes of your transactions and the complexity of the accounting you have, whether you already have VAT number registered or not, do you have people in the payroll or not. So the more affordable packages, when you really have like only few transactions, start from 50 or even below euros a month and go up to several hundreds if you have, for example, e-commerce or SaaS business where there are thousands of transactions and you have hired people in Estonia as well. So these are generally the rough estimates of the costs, but it can be more depending on your needs. And there is the general logic that the more affordable solutions are the ones where you have to do a bit more yourself. They are more like a platform-based businesses where you have your own self-service online portal. You need to log in there, probably upload your invoices there, and take care of your things yourself. And there are probably some more expensive options where you have more hand-holding, more personal approach. Your business service provider may help you with a lot of other things in Estonian business ecosystem than just the basic services. But then you can expect a bit higher costs for the service provider. Now, the business banking, as Martin already said, then the majority of e-residents could and should start with fintech accounts or online banks like Wise, Revolut, Paysera, Vamo, whatever you know. They should be regulated, among others, also in European Union or European Economic Zone area. The good thing is that you can open an account online. There is a wide choice of them. User experience or UA, UX is usually better than traditional banks. However, they do not provide credit services, and they are there's a wide variety of them. Then you could apply for an account in traditional Estonian bank, but for that there are two limitations. You need to have business ties to Estonia, which usually means that you either have an office or people in Estonia. Significant amount of your customers are in Estonia. You have some kind of some part of your supply chain is related to Estonia, or so something that is actually relating your business to Estonia. And the other thing is, in order to get the account opened, you have to have one personal visit to the bank office in Estonia. You verify yourself, give the signature, and then you get your bank card, for example. And the third option is bank account in some other European Economic Zone bank. So let's say you are experienced business founder. You have already had I don't know, several businesses in your local bank. I don't know, in Poland, for example, you could turn to your Polish bank and ask for the option that whether they are okay opening an account for your Estonian business as well instead of Polish one. If they consider it not risky, then probably they will open. Then in the eyes of Estonian state or Estonian laws, it's totally fine to have the account in Polish, German, Swiss, Swedish, or whatever kind of bank in the European Economic Zone. These are the options, but majority of e-residents go to the fintechs, and I will remind you one more time that it's always the decision of bank or fintech whether they open account for you or not. They also consider the aspects of your what kind of business are you doing, what's the business industry, where are you residing, what's your citizenship, and so on, so on. No one can guarantee you bank account, even not a service provider. So this is a selection from our marketplace. There are two more traditional type of banks that are more open to working with e-residents. There are LHV and Coop, and then there is a wide range of online banks or fintech solutions that are serving e-residents as well. Wise, which is also originally from Estonia, is probably the most popular and the most well-known one. So, but now we take some questions. In the meantime, I get to know the questions. I have actually, I give the stage to Viviana. What is your experience with company administration? Like, what has been the most difficult parts, and what have been the most beneficial parts when having it in Estonia for your cross-border businesses?
So what I'm doing like on a monthly basis is really just I open a dashboard from my service provider for my bookkeeping and accounting, and then I see how many of my transactions from the month don't have like an invoice assigned yet. So and then I just go through this and I go through all the portals where I'm having service like AWS or Azure and OpenAI, and then I download the invoices, upload them. And this is like, that takes me maybe like 1 hour per month, honestly, because the rest I can set up already automatically that all the invoices are sent to them. I asked my freelancers to send it to the address directly where it uploads to the portal. And so like 90% of my invoices are already assigned. And then I just spend 1 hour per month to sort out the rest. And then at the end of the year, I get a checklist of everything I have to provide to do the annual report, which is like a really nice guided flow of like maybe a 10-step flow of like different things where you have to say, did you make any transactions to family members, for example? You have to declare that, or like do you still have some unpaid invoices where like you have to cancel them or something. So there's like different questions that you answer where you just go through that, and then you have the e-residency card where you then sign off on the annual report, and then the service provider takes care of actually submitting it and preparing it, and I just have to sign it basically. So they're just taking the answers for my questions, and then like maybe once per year I'm like on that for I don't know 2-3 hours, and like otherwise maybe 2 hours per month that I'm spending uploading the invoices. But there's not really much other administrative stuff to do. I guess like maybe the biggest annoyance was just to like when I had to refresh my e-residency card because I actually had to travel to Kiev. Like I was already in Kiev when I did it, but then I had to come back to pick it up. I think if you're already in the city where it is, it's like easier, I guess. But because I had to travel to the capital, but it was like I don't know how long it takes till for it to expire, maybe 4 years or so. So it was 1 in 4 years that I had to travel somewhere. But like for me, it's not really like a lot of effort overall. I can't really say anything about the administrative side is difficult.
Okay, great. We have a couple of questions where I believe Martin would be a great person to answer. So a person would like to open a software services company, and the question is, can a company have a multiple revenue stream? For example, he can have an online product that generates revenue and at the same time provide freelance services under the umbrella of the same company. So in general, can there be several revenue streams and the fields of operations?
The short and simple answer is yes. And this comes up a lot. And to explain, so a private limited company or an Estonian company can have different types of businesses, different types of revenue streams. So if you start up, you have a business idea. Let's say you want to build software, you want to write code, something like this. But along the lines, you get an idea that you want to sell, I don't know, yellow ducks, rubber ducks for baths online. You can do that using the same company. So you don't need to set up a new company each time you have a new business idea. So yes, you can have multiple streams of business or of revenue in one company. And then there was one more question, which I think needs to be clarified to the broader audience. It's the question of income tax and dividends. So Estonia does have a very, very unique corporate income tax system. And what it means in most of the world, if your company generates profit during a year, then at the end of the year, you declare this profit and you pay a certain percentage as corporate income tax. Yeah. So this is the way it works in most countries of the world. In Estonia, it works a bit differently. So if you spend your business year and you make money, you generate profit, but you keep the money in the company, meaning you don't pay it out to the shareholders as dividends, but you either keep it on the company bank account, simply, nice to look at, or you reinvest it, or you use it for building your business. Then you don't pay the corporate income tax. You pay it at the time when you have decided to pay dividends, or in other words, when the shareholders decide to cash out. And at this point, you do pay, and there is sometimes confusion about how this percentage is calculated. Corporate income tax rate is 22%. And the way it's calculated is this. So if you have on your company bank account 100,000 euros, which you consider profit, and you decide, fine, I'm going to take all of this out. So then 22,000, which is 22%, goes to the Estonian government as corporate income tax. And the remainder, which is 78,000 euros, is then paid out to the shareholders. And this is then the personal income of the shareholders, which the shareholders in turn have to declare in their home countries and say, this is my dividend income from a company that I own in Estonia. And how and whether this is taxed depends on where these shareholders have their tax residency in. And this is something that we cannot help you. You need to get a tax advisor in your home country to find out whether and how much you have to pay if you receive dividend incomes from an Estonian company, even if you are the only owner of that company.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks, Martin. That was indeed one of the questions. There are some other tax-related questions that we are gonna probably that will be more in the last section. Now, so we are moving on to the last part of the presentation, which is taxation. Very general overview, as said. Everything that's related to your obligations in the homeland or the main the place you are residing, you need to have a local tax advice for that to be very clear that you are doing everything correctly. Also, if you understand that the ownership structure or the financial structure of your company is going to be a bit more complicated than just one owner. There are like maybe several owners or even Estonian company will be planned as a holding company for Estonian and some other kind of companies. Then for sure, it makes sense to already discuss with the tax expert in advance to be safe, so that it's according to all the legal requirements. But in general, indeed, everything related to your personal income and taxes related to that, they are declared where you are tax resident, as Martin just explained. So If you have Estonian company, but you are the resident of, I don't know, Czech Republic, for example, then the income you get from Estonian company has to be declared and paid according to the Czech Republic rules if you are living there. Now, whereas corporate income tax is declared where the company is registered or where it has a permanent establishment. By default, Estonian company is Estonian tax resident. But if you have significant amount of business or the value creation taking place in one other specific location, let's say your team is in Prague and your customers are mostly in Czech Republic, or I don't know, you have a stock there, then it's likely that tax authorities of Czech Republic may consider it to have a permanent establishment in their homeland. And then it needs to be figured out what share exactly of your taxation obligations belong to the other country than Estonia. Then the social taxes of your employees, whether they are in Estonia, in your homeland, or in the third country, are declared where the employees are located and registered. So if you have this company that you are running from Czech Republic, company is in Estonia, but the employees are in Poland, then their social taxes needs to be declared in Poland. If you have employees in Estonia, then according to the Estonian rules in Estonia. And then the VAT or value added tax, which is subject to a threshold in Estonia. There is no mandatory VAT registration if your revenue is below 40,000 euros a year. If it's above, you need to have it, but your VAT number, especially if you want to register it voluntarily, needs to be tied to business activities in Estonia or sales to Estonia. And also, if you're going to have VAT related operations in more than one countries in the European Union, then you could actually declare them in one EU country where you are VAT registered, and then distribution in other countries thanks to the OSS and IOSS schemes. Now, yeah, as said, your Estonian company is Estonian corporate tax resident, but there may be permanent establishment in other country or countries if you have a really strong business presence there. However, Estonia has more than 60 double taxation avoidance treaties. So there are treaties which help entrepreneurs to prevent the situation where they are taxed for the same thing in both countries. And reporting and accounting needs to be done on time according to the local rules. So for VAT or for employment taxes in Estonia, there are monthly reports you need to submit. And then there is, of course, annual report. Even if your company was like not active, then you still need to submit a very simple annual report. Luckily, everything can be done online. And even if you don't have like a huge number of transactions going on, it's really easy to make it happen. Now, one thing I would like to emphasize is that rules, what kind of costs can be considered business costs, how to build up the taxation structure, or like how to build up the financials of your company may be different in different companies, different countries. Just don't mess up your personal and business wallet, especially in Estonia, where, for example, rules of what kind of costs you can consider business costs are rather stricter than in some other countries. So try to avoid the situation where you pay for personal costs from the company's wallet and the other way. And yes, you shouldn't be double taxed. And our recommendation is to talk to tax consultant. Good news is that in general, the tax regulations are not very difficult in Estonia, not too many exceptions. Also, the tax rates in EU-wise, let's say, are average or not definitely in the highest end of the Europe. Corporate income tax said no tax on reinvested profits, but once you start distributing dividends, the income tax is 22%. VAT is 24% for sales in Estonia. So if you want to have a voluntary VAT registration already in the beginning, then you should be aware that there should be some kind of business activity taking place or tied to Estonia. And then you can benefit from EU-wide 100K threshold and also IOSS and the OSS schemes. Everything can be declared online, whether you do it independently or with the help of your service provider. And actually, Estonian tax board is not the institutions that start sending your fines from the first second you were delayed with the taxation or you actually made a mistake in your report. Usually, it is possible to get a consultation or help if you are struggling with your reports or are not understanding exactly how and what to do. Please turn to the tax board, even if you don't get the help from your accountant, especially then turn to tax board, explain it in detail. They are able to provide you some support in English. And yeah, we think it's rather friendly Estonian tax board, but let's say that it's a supportive type of tax board. So they are there to make clear how the things work in Estonia. And if you edit your reports and pay your tax contributions according to the law, and then everything is actually fine. And in the long run, of course, what is good or what to consider is to actually build a stronger substance and presence in Estonia to fully benefit from this reinvested profit schemes and also to be more strongly tied to Estonia. If you have a remote team and you can hire people from all around the world, consider hiring one in Estonia or several ones in Estonia as well. Have an office here. Register, for example, your assets or intellectual property to Estonian company. In some countries also, in the context of the taxation, holding board meetings and having stronger ties to Estonia is something that you could consider. Or of course, you could relocate to Estonia or become a digital nomad as well. So there are several sources in our website on building a substance in Estonia as well. Now, some more questions probably there. There is a question about the recording and slides. Just to confirm you, you will get a follow-up email where there will be the link to the recording of the presentations and also the slides. So no worries about that. Martin, could you explain a little bit the concept of value-added tax in Estonia and in the European Union? What are the basics a future e-resident founder should know about VAT?
Oh, that is a very tricky question, and I think we should devote the specific topic to that. There is a lot about value-added tax on the e-residency knowledge base as well, and I really invite everybody to read it. But to make a very long story short, is that there are certain requirements for companies. If your certain sales turnover exceeds 40,000 euros, then you have to register yourself as a VAT obliged company. You can also do it earlier, but a VAT value-added tax is a tax that it applies in all European Union member states and many countries of the world outside of the EU as well. It is a certain percentage that you add to your sales. And also it means that if you buy something that is required for your business, then the value-added tax that you pay can later be deducted. I'm not sure if that makes a lot of sense, just blurting it out like this. Give you just an example. If your company buys a laptop in Estonia and the laptop costs 1,000 euros plus VAT, then you pay 1,220 euros. And then if you later sell something, let's say in Estonia, and you collect and you sell it for 1,000 euros plus VAT, then your client kind of pays you the same. They pay you 1,220 euros, And at the sum of that, you don't pay anything again to the government, because these two sums kind of cancel each other out. But this is maybe overly simplistic explanation of it. But I invite everybody to read into the subject. The main points that you should remember is that it is not always mandatory for you to register for VAT. It is perfectly fine to operate the company without having a VAT number. And it is also important to note that if your main clients are physical persons inside of the European Union, then it might even not make business sense to register for VAT, because that would obviously immediately make your services, more expensive for your clients. But these are the short points. I know that they are maybe not very clear and they generate more questions than they answer. But again, reading into the subject a little bit is recommended. And if you have your own business case and you have already chosen a business service provider, or you're in the process of searching for a business service provider, send an email to their customer service, and you get perhaps a more clear explanation about how VAT would work in your particular case. But yeah, once again, I would like to underline one more thing, because some people think that having a VAT number is something which is kind of automatic, or which is necessary. It is not. It is in most cases it is optional, and the business person can choose whether to apply for it or not. In some cases it becomes mandatory, but your accountant will then be able to advise you. Now you have no choice but to apply for VAT. This is why an accountant is really important helper for a business owner.
Thank you, Martin. As we are going to wrap up the session soon, so Viviana, your few sentences of how have you been able to navigate through everything related to reporting and taxation? What's your tip for the future e-residents?
I'm not sure if I have any tips. I think I would just do it if you're in a location independent situation, especially. I can recommend it if you're living a nomadic lifestyle. I think Estonia is like the way to go, especially if you're growing the business, if it's just a startup. So I think that maybe that would be my tip, that I can recommend it. But I think it's really quite easy to navigate it, and it's always like very nice guided instructions for everything from all the service providers in Estonian e-residency themselves. So just follow the guided tour and then do it.
Yes, indeed. I can also recommend to check our website. There are several resources also related to taxation and how to be compliant with the rules. There are a couple of blog posts that are explaining certain type of taxes a bit more in detail. And of course, talk to the service providers. I think on your screens, you already see our last slide where there is also a QR code. If you scan that, you are led to the a website which enables you already to download today's slides. But no worries if you cannot do it right now. It is possible to read the follow-up email we are going to send you after today's session, so that you can see the recording or also see the slides. So thank you for joining. Extremely big thanks to Martin from E-Residency Hub and Viviana as an experienced e-resident who joined us and shared their knowledge and experience, and also for my dear teammates who helped you answer a lot of questions you wrote in the Q&A tab. So feel free to start applying soon. If you have any more questions, then we have support, and also check out our knowledge base website and blog. Thank you for joining. In November, we're going to have a next session that it will be focusing on how to establish non-profits in Estonia. But follow us, your e-residency channels to learn more. Thanks, Martin and Viviana.